Wonderful, cool guys. So, what I'm going to do today is I've had so many people getting on to me, right? Complaining, demanding for my trading knowledge. Can I sit down with you and do trading? Can I sit down and do trading? Can I do this with trading? And I'm so busy, I don't even have time to trade myself, to be honest with you. So, what I want to do is I just want to share my knowledge. This will be advanced, guys. So please try and stay with me. I'm going to try and be as basic as possible. But for a lot of you, especially if you are brand new, it will probably go in one ear and out the other. But regardless, please just try and stay in and take notes. If you have any questions, then let me know. More time, don't just shoot the question. It will kind of make sense. Just a little bit about my journey, guys. I've been trading now for 5 years. And looking back now, it was definitely an incredible journey, and it still always is. Um, and for me, especially as a man, it was a great opportunity for me to be exposed. There's nothing in this world that has exposed me as much as this industry. From down to how greedy I am, how emotional I am, how undisciplined I am. And the famous saying is how you do everything is how you do anything. And my first year in trading, I wasn't in the gym. I wasn't as disciplined as I should, and it was showing up in the charts. And a lot of our belief systems, a lot of our daily habits, a lot of us is revealed in the charts. Okay. When I did first start, probably I'd say my first year and a half, I made a lot, but I lost it all. I'd probably say my first year and a half, I probably lost over 30K when I was trading. And I did that. That was how I looked at it and how I managed it without jumping off the roof was that was my tuition fee. That was my charge to make money in this industry, a $7 trillion industry. You have to pay some sort of price. It's not every day someone can just you can make a lot of money from your phone. Like you have to pay some sort of price. And my way of thinking, the person I was, it cost me 30K to be able to change myself. That's how I looked at it. Okay, you see how some people change to get like plastic surgery to change themselves physically and they pay thousands of pounds. I had to pay that charge to change myself internally. Does that make sense? So what I want to do is I just want to give you guys some really basic stuff of how I trade. When I first started, you guys are in such a blessed scenario because most of you, you don't have to learn how to trade to make money. In my first company, we didn't have trades being sent out. We didn't have AI scanners. We didn't have people helping us make money. I had to learn whilst I'm trying to make money. You guys have the opportunity to learn if you want and then also make money separately. Okay. And obviously I say that because some of you may want to learn. That's fantastic. I'm assuming you guys are on today's call because you are some of the few that want to learn. And what I did do when I had the intention to learn is I used to plug into every single educator within my niche. So it was in Forex and it was in like smart money concepts. And I picked certain things from different educators and combined it into what obviously I now do and I now use as a daily basis. So my best advice is for you guys to plug into the likes of Donovan Taylor. We trade very similar. Plug into the likes of Kevin Serrano. If you guys can see on my trading view at the top, this is actually saved. This template is saved as Kevin Serrano. This was from 5 years ago. He's one of our educators now. So they both are people who trade naked, not literally. It means that there's nothing on the charts. So they don't have indicators, they don't have EMAs, they don't have things on their charts. They go off candles. Okay. So I also go off candles. I just draw things on my chart to make me see a certain image. So how trading works, guys, is your brain has to print out a certain image for it to make sense because history, the same way history repeats itself, so does the charts. So even if you backtest, right? Backtest just means you go back over the years to find out what happened. And what you tend to find is that history does repeat itself. Okay. So you can see here, people were trading gold in 1970. I know a lot of us on this call, we wasn't even around, right? But overall, gold, this is gold, for example. Gold has obviously been a great investment asset because it's a safe haven, which means that anytime the financial world, the economy is in trouble, right? People put their money in gold because, as you guys can see, gold has always been an asset that appreciates. Okay, so you should all kind of understand the basic concept of bullish, bearish, um, and for me, I'm just going to give you guys some confirmations of what I look for. Then I'm going to give you guys some examples, and I'm going to give you guys just some things that will help you alongside the trade ideas that were sent into our chat so that you can get the best out of the idea. Okay, because yes, we're copy and pasting, guys, but it's not literal. Like a guy got started the other day and he literally thought like you just copy and paste. Like that is it. Like of course that's what we're doing obviously overall, but you need to use some psychology and some mindset behind what you're copy and pasting, okay? So when it comes to any sort of chart, when I do a top-down analysis, that means that I have certain confirmations before I pull the trigger. Now, if you was going to war, right, you want to have as much arson, as much artillery in your favor to go to war. Now, guys, we're going to war not only with ourselves in the market, but also $7 trillion and also 97% of people that fail. So, obviously, a common saying that I live by is I observe the masses and I do the opposite. Okay, so anyone taking notes, that's a saying that really, really helped me. Observe the masses and do the opposite. Even simple things like when it comes to traffic. The amount of times people are just sitting in one line in traffic and there's an empty road or there's an empty lane. And just because people don't think, they just sit in the lane when there's an actual open lane. Just observe the masses and do the opposite. In this market, 97% of people fail. Okay. So my first confirmation, all right, so I'm just going to do confirmations that I look for, and you guys can take what you want with this. There's no right or wrong. It may make sense to you, it may not. It doesn't mean anything is what you make of it. There's no good or bad, it's your perception, all right? So my first confirmation is to find out the trend, okay? So whether it's bullish or bearish. Okay. Now, before any of this, really and truly, as well, what you want to do is you want to find out what sort of trader you are. Okay. So, what trader are you? Okay. There's three types of traders. You have swing traders, right? I've got some friends that hold trades for months. I can't do that. I don't like to do that. I'm not a swing trader. You have them people who are day traders, okay, or intraday, we call it intraday traders, which are most of you guys. You don't hold a trade probably longer than a day. And then you have scalping, where you're going to be in the trade for a minute, a couple minutes, no longer than 10 minutes, okay? Find out what trader you are. I don't like to scalp because it's very there's too much dopamine, there's too much energy, it's too exciting. You're meant to be bored when it comes to trading. You're meant to be calm, you're meant to be subtle, you're meant to be relaxed. So scalping, it feels like I'm at the races. It feels like I'm in Ladbrokes because it's just too intense personally, okay? Intraday, it works for me, okay? I get in and out the trade, I can go about my day, all right? So with that being said, that's my first confirmation. Now, if I said to you guys right now, going off of this, we're going to go on the hourly. Going off of this picture here, guys, are we bullish or are we bearish? Can you guys let me know in the chat box? Are we bullish or are we bearish? Let me know in the chat box. Are we bullish and are we bearish? Or are we bearish? Either English is free, unless that was in Swedish, then, right? Okay, we got a few answers. We got bearish, bearish, bullish, bullish, bearish. Okay, 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 okay. So I'm just going off the hourly time frame. Okay. Now, what I personally would say is I would say this is bullish. Okay, and I'll tell you why. So we have our. Let me do it. Let me get my pen out. Right. So we have our low, we have our higher low, and then we have our lower low. Now, the fact that these candles came above this here, right? For me, this is what we call a change of structure. So just going off the hourly, we're bullish, okay? Just going off of this, it became, let me get rid of all of this, right? Backspace, okay? The fact that price broke above my last high and created a higher high, and we haven't created a lower low, this for me is bullish. So we're looking for buys. Okay. Obviously, this period here, what we're in right now, this is consolidation. Okay. This just means that it's playing around with people. We had NFP today, so it's playing around. All right. But overall, we're bullish, which means we want to look for buys. Okay. So that's my first confirmation. Okay. Now, my second confirmation, right, would be liquidity. Okay. Now, all liquidity means is money. Okay. It equals money. Now, how these markets work, and it took such a long time for me to realize, right, was that your stop loss is someone's take profit, and your take profit is someone's stop loss, which means if you made money today, drop a one in the chat if you made money today. If you made money today, drop a one in the chat. Right? You guys are horrible people because what you did is you took someone else's money, right? You took someone's stop loss. How greedy. Put a how greedy in the chat. You all are greedy, right? Because that's all you did. You took someone's money. There's someone on the other side of the world scratching their head, smashed up their laptop because you copied and pasted from a trade and hit TP. How greedy, right? Okay. So, with that being said, what it means is that our job is to find out where people's stop losses are. Why? Because 97% of people lose money in the markets. Now, what liquidity looks like in the charts is wicks. Okay. So, anyone taking notes, whenever you see wicks, right, it means money. Whenever you see wicks, it means money. Whenever you see wicks, these are all areas where money is hidden in the charts. Of course, we can't see it. If you work in the bank, you'll be able to see it. Okay. But I used to think, right? I don't know if you guys relate, but I used to take trades, right? And I used to put my, let me back test, right? I used to put my, obviously what they teach you on YouTube, right? This is why you shouldn't learn off YouTube because most people have it and that's why most people don't have money. So it can't be the answer. Okay. So for this example, right? I would put my entry here, for example, at the order block and I put my stop loss above. Okay. That's what they teach you on YouTube. Now, all that used to happen, right, was that price used to keep going, take my stop loss. I'm now fuming. I'm thinking, okay, if it hit my stop loss, then it must be going up. So let me buy it, right? Little did I know, obviously, it's just a liquidity sweep. And I don't know what it did anyway. But the point is, I used to think that my little £500 account, the banks was seeing my £500. Why is every time I put my stop loss there, my stop loss gets on getting hit? Because I didn't understand that wicks mean money. Okay. So that's the first thing. I look at where there is liquidity in the market. Okay. So where are the wicks? All right. So I'm just going to draw some areas where there are wicks. Okay. So if we back test just a little bit, and I'll show you guys today what happened. Okay. So let me just back test this, right? So we go on the 50-minute time frame. Okay. So as I mentioned, wicks mean money. Okay. So we have one wick here. Okay. We have one wick here, money. Okay. We have a few wicks here, money. Bingo. All right. So that's what we wanna head towards there because what that means is there's money hidden here. Okay. Where are there more wicks? There's wicks everywhere. Okay. We just need to make sure we're on the right side of money. Okay. So I'm drawing a trend line. That's also my other confirmation, which I'll get into. Um, if I play this out, you guys are gonna just see everybody's stop loss that was looking for buys literally just got swept. Okay. Right. So it's just building liquidity, more wicks. Okay, fantastic. Right. Every single person's stop loss got hit. All right. We was in the sell. Everyone's stop loss got hit. So, right. So now the liquidity's been taken. Right. Obviously, prior to the trade, I'm looking at to where there is liquidity. Where is there most wicks? Okay. All right. So that's my second confirmation. My third confirmation is trend lines. Okay. Now, everyone has their opinion towards trend lines. That's up to them. I know it works for me. There's three types of trend lines. Okay. You have a support trend line, You have a resistance. You guys know what resistance and support means, right? Anyone not know? How I remember it, your support is your floorboard, okay? It's supporting you, right? And your resistance is your ceiling, okay? You can't go above it. It's resisting you, okay? Support and resistance. And you then also have liquidity trend lines, okay? So what I had just drawn then on gold, it was once a support um trend line, okay? So what I mean by that is it went up, it respected it as a floorboard. Okay, this was my support. It respected me. Okay, it then went up again. It respected my floorboard again. It went up again. It then respected my floorboard, my support trend line. But if something's been hit a certain amount of times, if you punch a wall or you crash drive into a wall 4 or 5 times, the next time you come to that wall, what's going to happen? It's going to break. Okay. And what happens is it now becomes a reversal or a liquidity trend line. Okay, so it was once being supported, it's now become resistance where this is my ceiling, I've hit my head, and then all of a sudden it swept the whole liquidity. Okay, so all this was doing was just building up people's money. Everybody was putting in buys here. All of a sudden, price just swept the whole of liquidity. Okay, now something I've just seen as well, but I don't always use it, but I am very aware of it, is certain patterns. Again, you can't just use this to trade, but if you have it in your arsenal, then it helps. Okay, so trading patterns. Okay, you can't just use this, guys, because it can't be this simple. Okay, but what you can see here, all right, these are the forex patterns. You can get familiar with them. You'll see them in the charts every so often. All right, let me try and blow this up. Okay, right. So the one that I've just seen on that example is what we call a head and shoulders. Okay, now it's never going to be as perfect as it looks here, but if you guys can see, if I get out the head and shoulders, you've got your left shoulder, you've got your head, and then you have your right shoulder. Okay, simple move, right? Left shoulder, right shoulder. It breaks the neck of the shoulder of the head and shoulders, and it then drops lower. Okay, like I said, this is a little bit advanced. This is not basics, but this is the level you want to get to where whenever you want to make money, you just jump on the charts. Okay. Do I trade every day? Hell no. Why would I want to give the money back to the market? All right. But when I do want money, I just know to jump on the charts. Okay. Cool. If you guys are still with me, just drop a one. If anyone has any questions, just let me know. Okay. If you guys are still with me, just drop a one. If anyone has any questions, let me know. Wonderful. Cool. So, no questions. Right. Cool. So, let me just show, I just showed you then an example of a support trend line. So a support and resist trend line will always eventually become a liquidity trend line. And liquidity means I'm just going to take your money. So it will stay a support. So even this example here, this happened last week, right? Let me draw this out, all right? So you guys can see there is a bunch of wicks here. So one wick, I'm going to draw it with this wick, two. So look, you've got a whole everything that happens on a micro scale, you can see on a macro scale. Okay, so I just showed you an example on a 15-minute time frame. I'm now showing you the exact same example on a 4-hour time frame. Okay, so we have our first support trend line, fantastic, one touch. It then came down, second touch. We then get our third touch. I'd say anywhere from 3 to 5 touches is when you can see it break. Okay, so it broke it. What did it do? It respected it and came down all the way to where it started every single time. Okay, if you guys can just be aware of it, you don't have to catch the whole move, but if you can just build confidence, knowing that, okay, if you see a trend line, if you see that it's had multiple touches, if you see there's a head and shoulders again, alongside it, you're just building confidence. All right. So every trend line that is once support or resistance after a certain amount of touches will eventually become liquidity, which means the market's going to come and take your money because you're taking a piss at this point. You're just using this as a ladder, which you can't just keep doing that. I'm going to come and take your money and then we're going to see what happens next. Okay. Cool. My next confirmation, right, is I would say time and price. Very, very important. Okay. Some people say to me, well, what time do you send out trades and what time? So can anyone tell me that has been a student What time does all GBP pairs move the most? What time is London session from? Can anyone tell me? Most of us live in London. What time does London session start when it comes to the foreign exchange market? And if you don't know, don't you dare go out saying I'm a trader and you don't know what time London session starts. Okay? Okay, cool. So I would say probably from 7 till midday. All right. Ideally, maybe 7 till 10, 7 till 11. Okay. Can anyone tell me in the chat what time the New York session starts? So this is all USD pairs. What time do USD pairs move the most? Okay, so from 12, I'd say maybe 12:30 until maybe 4 o'clock. Okay, so when I see some people in the chat talking about trades on gold at 6 p.m., you're just gonna be consolidating until Asian session. You're gonna be in the charts a lot longer than you want to. How I now see it is I go in the market, take my money, and I go about my day because I didn't learn how to trade to sit behind a screen as if I got a 9 to 5. I put in the hours so I can now trade whenever it is I want. Okay, cool. So time and price. I have I don't really use it. I used to. I have an indication. This is like an indicator where it shows you every time zone, or not time zone, every time zone basically when the chart's open. Okay. So for example, um, if you guys can look all the way down, you can see time and price, a day and price. Okay. So you got Tuesday, the 1st of July at 12 o'clock. This is when New York starts. Okay. It then will finish at around 4 o'clock. And with gold, especially, you normally catch a move during this period. Okay. So with this period here, this is where you back test and you don't need to be on the charts every day. I just know if I'm on the charts from 12 until 4, right? I could have easily caught 200 pips on gold just during that session. Okay. The next day now, all right, 12 till 4, you could have maybe caught the buy. Okay. So this happened at around 2 o'clock. All right. You could have bought the buy, 93 pips. Okay. The next day now, today, NFP. Okay. Most of you caught the sell, right? 12 till 4, 400 pips. You don't need to trade every day, guys. You don't need to trade every minute of the day. You just need to be on the charts at the right time. If you're at work and you're not available to do it, unfortunately, you don't have a choice. You maybe have to do late night sessions and jump on Asian session, okay, which is in the nighttime. All right. But it's very important for you to make sure you're in a trade and out of a trade, especially if you're intraday trader, when it comes down to certain times and certain prices. Okay. Cool. So that's my fourth confirmation. My fifth confirmation is what we call the Fibonacci, right? I think that's how you spell it, right? My fib zone. Now, what your Fibonacci is the opportunity, right? Because what you guys need to understand is we want to buy low and sell high. In order to do that, we need to be able to get a good discounted price. Okay, everybody loves a discount. Everybody loves a Black Friday. No matter how much money you make, I'll always try and get a discount. Okay, so I have a Fibonacci tool, and I'll show you guys this with GJ, right? A beautiful trade. I don't know if you guys took it, right? Where I pulled my Fibonacci on the daily time frame. Okay, I pulled my, where's my mouse? I'm doing this, right? I pulled my Fibonacci from my order block, which I might get into, but that's another conversation for another day. So I pulled it from my order block down here, and I pulled it to where the high is. So I pulled it from the low, and I pulled it to the high. All this allows me to do is it allows me to wait for me to get a discounted price of 78% discount or an 88% discount. Okay. So when you're buying, let's just say, for example, I don't know, Johanna, right? Johanna is buying gold at, oh, so this is GBP JPY at 198, right? 361, for example. She's bought it at that price. If I am patient, and this is all the market does, the market passes the money from the impatient to the patient. If Johanna just had waited a few hours, maybe a few days, depends how long it takes, she now could have got the price of 195, 450. Okay. The aim of the game is to try and get a cheap or a more expensive, depending if you're buying or selling price. Okay. Let me just put my laptop on charge. Does that make sense, guys? Let me know if that makes sense in the chat. The Fibonacci tool, if you pull it out at the right time, at the right points, it allows you to get a discounted price. Okay, so this allowed me to get an 88% discounted price on GBP JPY. So this is my entry. I only enter when it's in my discounted area. Okay, so if it's not a 78% discount, I don't want it. I want a bargain. All right, if you ain't giving me the bargain, I ain't buying it. Some of you lot have You don't want the bargain. You lot are rich. You just want to buy gold when it's going up, and you want to sell gold when it's going down. Doesn't make sense. All right. So going back to my confirmation, right? My fourth one is Fibonacci, and I would say my last six one. Um, mm, I don't try to overcomplicate it. I used to when I first started. I was using every indicator, every educator, and then I just circled back to just simplicity. Um, I think that's I don't think I use any other. Um, so with number four, what I would say is I would use news as well. So time, price, and news. That's very, you have to be aware of that. Um, I think that's it for now. I think that's mainly what I use. Okay. So the more I have, the more that I have an answer for a trend, the more I know where liquidity is, the more I have trend lines, the more I know the time and price, and the more accurate I am with my Fibonacci, I'm more confident when it comes to taking the trade. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to show you guys this example of GBP JPY. Okay. So I'll break this down as if you guys were not here and I was just by myself. So, oh yeah, so that's another confirmation that I'll use as well. All right. So if I go back, my last confirmation is higher time frame. Okay, so higher time frame, support and resistance. Okay, very important. All right. So the higher the time frame, the more confident you can be in the trade as well. Okay. So if you're in the 1 minute, don't expect any solid support or resistance. But on the daily, you can expect, or you can, the support and resistance will get respected a lot more than you during the support and resistance on the 1 minute or the 15 minute or anything less than an hour isn't as powerful. So for GBP JPY, what I'm going to do, I'm going to start on the daily. Okay. What I do first off, right, is I try and draw, I will try and get a bigger picture as possible. We can just start with this picture here. Okay. I'll get a solid red line and I will change my candles to line. Okay. So I click the top, I change my candles to line. And what it does is it doesn't show you wicks because wicks are the confusion. Wicks is where people get manipulated. Wicks is the placebo. Let's just call it. Wicks is the distraction. Wicks are distraction. So when you do the line chart, it shows you actual price points. Okay. So I now just need to find pivot points. Okay. Everyone knows what a pivot point is, right? A pivot point is, for example, a pivot point is like anytime it turns. Okay. So anytime it turns, anytime it turns, anytime it turns, these are pivot points. With a line chart, I can now see it a lot more clearer. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to try and draw as many support and resistance areas that have had a pivot point, okay? Because it means that price can change at that certain area, okay? So I'm going to draw, there's one down here. Obviously, you can't get all of them, but if you can get the majority of them, okay, then you're cool. Cool. That's a good pivot one, right? So you only need to trap price. Your aim is to trap price. So I trap it on the 4 hour, I trap it on the daily, and then I come down to the hourly or the smaller time frame. Okay. So I now have my higher time frame support and resistance. So you just put lines where most pivot points are correct. Okay. So for this one here, you can see if I draw out how many pivot points there are, right? I've got a bunch of pivot points there. I've got pivot points. I've got a support and resistance. That's the ideal. This one here is the ideal scenario where you have a resistance. It's now become support. Okay. That's a great pivot point here again. All right. Great pivot point. You can see what I'm doing with this, all right? Just find pivot points. Now I can go back to my candles and I can now dive into the smaller time frame. So I'm just going to backtest with this, right? We can backtest it here, okay? So let's just go off my confirmations. I've done my support and resistance, okay? That's fine. Now, what I want to do, looking at the hourly time frame, guys, am I bullish or bearish? Okay, let's go off my confirmations. Am I bullish or am I bearish? Can you guys let me know in the chat box? Wait, sorry, let me go back. Let me just get this. Where is it? Copy. Let's go to GJ. Let's paste it there. All right, cool. Am I on GBP JPY? Am I bullish or am I bearish looking at this? Let me know in the chat box. Am I bullish or am I bearish? Bullish. Okay, we're bullish. Why? Because the low was down here, didn't create a lower low. Okay. But what it did do is it created a higher high, right? And then we also had a higher low, and then we also created a higher high. If price, right, if it came either below here, we've changed structure. And also, if it came below this low here, change structure. But this is where price will manipulate you sometimes. So you have to be careful, right? But anyways, we are bullish, okay? So I'm looking for buys, okay? Now, the second confirmation, liquidity, right? So let's zoom in. Where is money hidden? Okay, so I can see a bunch of wicks down here, right? That means money, okay? I can also see a bunch of wicks above. That's money, okay? I can also see wicks in between, right? That's money, okay? Although it's swept, let me not do that because it's swept already, right? Okay, so there's loads of liquidity that is pretty much being held below and above. What tends to happen, guys, is if you're patient enough, this is a load of bogus. What I mean by that is this is a load of rubbish. This is consolidating. This is just trapping people, getting people in their emotions, people trading at the wrong times, right? This is, look, so this is around, what time is it? So 7 a.m. is down here. Wait, let me go to 7 a.m. So the whole of London session, it was consolidating. Okay. So the whole of London session, it was consolidating, right? We then, on the next day, we got another push on London. It then consolidated during New York. We then got a push on London again or finish in London. But ultimately, guys, you don't really want to be trading within this area personally. Okay. But one thing you can see that is quite blatant is these support and resistance areas are valid. Okay. So it came to it, respected it, came back down, didn't come all the way, but it didn't break it and then came back down. So these are valid areas for you to look for some sort of movement at any of the red lines. It just helps. Okay. Cool. So, oops, let's get rid of that. So that is liquidity. I've drawn out areas of liquidity. Okay. My third confirmation is trend lines. Can I see any trend lines? Well, I can see one straight away. And this is where, guys, I've put so many hours into the chart, right? That my eyes have just been pretty much programmed to see instant liquidity, right? So that's a whole liquidity trend line, all right? So let me just draw this up, all right? So we got one touch, two touches, third touch, fourth touch. Okay, now you're weak as hell. I'm gonna break and retest. Okay, so I found my support trend line that has been beaten up so bad, it's now eventually gonna become a liquidity trend line, which means at some point, price is gonna sweep all the way from where it started to then go higher. Okay, so that's my third confirmation is I found where liquidity is. Time and price, okay? This is obviously execution. So you only want to worry about time and price when you're executing a trade. But Fibonacci number 5, this is where this comes into play, okay? So from my um all right. Cool. So from where my trend line started, ideally you'll always find your trend line starting at an order block. What an order block is, guys, is two candles where banks confirm that there are orders waiting. So when you guys have buy limits and sell limits, the banks also have that as well. So normally before you get a big push up, you get a sell candle to buy candle. So the banks have to sell it to buy it to then go up. Let me show you another example. We then also have an order block here, right? So let me just draw it, right? This here is an order block. Why? Because before price wanted to push down, it gave me a buy to sell, and then we push down. Okay, let's find another example. Another order block here. Okay, so if you're just aware of these areas, it's areas where there could be potential change of there could be a move potentially happening. Okay, so this example here, before, right, before price pushed up, you guys can see it pushed up. Before it went, it gave me a sell to buy candle, and then it went. You can see this over and over again. Okay, so again, before price pushed down. So you can see this order block. You got a few order blocks here. Before price pushed down, it gave me a buy to sell. So if it's going to go down, it'll give me a buy to sell and vice versa. And then obviously it pushed down. Okay. So at my order block area, what I'm going to do, sorry, can you explain order block again? I don't want to get into this topic. Right. So when banks want to move the market, they have to have certain they have to have money ready before it moves. So these order blocks here, an order block is just a solid sell and a solid buy candle next to each other. So this is an order block. Okay. These two candles are, so it's two candles. An order block is two candles. Okay. Right. An order block is two candles. It just means that banks have orders waiting. So you can expect to see a reaction. So every time you pull it across, it's not a coincidence, guys, that we got a reaction in line with our order block. Again, we've got a reaction in line with our order block. If we come down here, we got a reaction in line with our order block. If you look right, we got a reaction. Okay. So every single order block will have a reaction attached to it. Okay. So if I go back to the actual idea, right? Okay. So let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. Right. So from where I started my trend line, all I did was I pulled my Fibonacci from the bottom of my order block. So you guys can see this order block here. This is the one I'm focused on. This order block here is where my trend line started. And normally, if I check as well, it normally comes back to where price had news. So you guys can see this was 1 o'clock on Thursday, the 19th of June. Okay, so this order block happened on the 13th, sorry, Thursday, the 19th of June. So if I go to Forex Factory, there should be news that happened at on the 19th of June at 1 o'clock. Okay, so the 19th of June. Okay, there's no news. Normally there is news because it means that there's money that needs to be collected by the banks, but either way, it's an area for you to have an interest. Okay, so POI, I think someone in the chat put point of investment. No, point of investment means you're ready to go. Point of interest means I'm going to wait to see what happens within that area. Okay, it doesn't mean just pull the trigger. So what I did is I pulled my Fibonacci from this low, okay, and I pulled it all the way to the high. Okay, so my high is up here. I'm just going to pull it across so I can see the bigger picture. Okay, it's not a coincidence, guys, that it's just below my 88% discounted area. Okay, that's not a coincidence. Okay. And if you really want to kind of look into support and resistance, you can probably draw an area where you can see clear reactions. Okay. So the market, so within my red zones, within my support and resistance areas on a higher time frame, I also have smaller support resistance zones. Okay. So you can see it here, right? Same again, came to this area, rejected it, right? Came to this area, respected it. So it's always coming back to this box as well, which is just helpful. All right. It's just helpful. Okay. Cool. So let's play this out. All right. Let's play this out. Okay. Keep it coming. Okay. Wonderful. Right. So it came exactly to my area. And what you'll tend to find, right, is within an order block. All right. Try and bear with me when I'm about to say what I'm going to say. Within an order block, where is it? What's going on? Okay, here we are. Within an order block, right? That's the bottom of the trend. You normally see, I think that's another confirmation I use as well, is imbalance. I don't know if you guys have heard of imbalance, fair value gap. It means that there's a little gap, right, within a candle. Okay, so you guys can see how there is no candles on the right-hand side. If you follow my mouse, every single candle overlaps. So all of these wicks, right? We got wicks and candle. Every single candle overlaps. All right. So as you guys can see, right? So every single candle overlaps. And what do I mean by that? Right? You can see this candle pushed up, right? But it left a small gap. For price to move, every single gap within the market has to get filled, right? So not only did price come all the way down, not only did price come all the way down to where my trend line started, but it also filled in my imbalance. Okay. Now I think the entry that I called was 195, right? If I go on my WhatsApp, it was 195,450. Okay. So 195,450. 450. Okay, so this is right in between this small gap. Now, this is where it sometimes confuses people because not everyone can go from the daily time frame to the 30-minute time frame or the 1 minute time frame. But there is a gap within this candle, and the middle of it is 450. Okay, so 450, right? That's my entry. Okay. Now, stop loss, you can just put it below where you pulled your fibs. So if I go to the right, 450 was my entry. Put my stops below the low. Okay. Now, this is another good point when it comes to my Fibonacci, because not every time, but it also does give you exit points. Okay. So now that this trend line has been swept, guys, it's now invalid. Price can now move because this trend line's been swept. So I can get rid of this. Okay. But what now is left behind is also a now resistance trend line. Okay. So it's kind of like Chase, like Tom and Jerry. It's literally Tom and Jerry. You've got to find out where the mouse is, catch the mouse, and then you'll find out there's another mouse. So we've just cleared this trend line. Now, what it's created is also another trend line. Okay, so that was our entry. I think TP1 I said was 196,300, which is just a level of it's around my area of my resistance because at this point already, we're at a 1 to 3 risk to reward. So if you risk £10, you make £30, £100, 3K, 300 pound, right? So the next TP was 500, which is around my next area, TP2. And TP3 is going to be at the top of my trend line. Why? Because we now need to come back and get liquidity. Okay. So all of my confirmations were valid. I had my trend, I was bullish, which means I'm looking for buys. Liquidity, I found the trend line liquidity. Time and price, this came to price at around 2 o'clock. So we're in New York session. Fibonacci, it came and it sat, right? Write this down for anyone taking notes. It's not where the candle opens, it's where the candle closes. So the candle pushed down, but it's not a coincidence the candle closed on top of my 88. It's sitting on it like it's a bench. It's literally all of them are sitting on my 88%. Okay. So it sat on my Fibonacci, and we're also hovering around our support and resistance time frame. Okay. So when we play this out, kept on going, boom, and we're now here. Okay. So this already is a 1 to 11. You do one of them, guys. Do one of them a week. You ain't got to trade again. But the problem with 97% of people in the world is you are not going to be satisfied with risking £1 and making £11. You're not going to be satisfied with risking £10 and making £110. I guarantee you, if you had much more capital behind you, you'd be happy with making 11K in a week. You wouldn't look at the charts again. Now you can live your life. You can go and do what you want to do. Does that make sense? So TP3 is at the top of my trend, right? And that's a 1 to 14. Okay. So I don't need to trade every day. Once you learn this, you just need to be patient. There was a tool as well. I'm not sure where it is on TradingView, where it shows you can save previous ideas. So I'm going to show you just how much time I've put into this, how much practice, how much back testing, um, in order to get the results I now have. But let me just show you. Uh, Okay, so what I used to do, I don't do this anymore, but what I used to do, right, is I used to keep ideas so I can backtest. Guys, look, you can see here, I used to journal. New York session, 5 out of 6 confirmations. This was in September 2024. I hit a 1 to 8 on GBP JPY. GBP CAD, all confirmations hit. I hit a 1 to 10. Okay, 1 to 10, New York, all confirmations valid. Okay, so I'm now building confidence. I'm now building confirmations. I'm now building strategy when it comes to it. Look, all 6 confirmations, A star trade, right? So I'm journaling. It's very, very important. Same thing again, guys. Look, trend line, Fibonacci, support and resistance, boom, 1 to 15. Okay. Um, Same again with GJ. All right. 5 out of what did I comment here? I got lazy as it went on, but when I first started, I had way more comments, right? But 5 out of 6 confirmations, New York session. Okay. So you can see starting in New York session, 1 to 6, support and resistance trend line, Fibonacci, boom. So ideally, just because you don't need to always hit a home run, my Fibonacci actually should, the TPs actually should be um the extension side of it. So I'll show you what I mean by that, right? So TPs should be, so I used to do TP1 was where I first drew the fibs. So up here, TP2 was my 38 extension fib, and my TP3 was here. But because I know you guys, the, the goal is not always to hit a home run, number one. But number two, you don't always have to hit a 1 to 24. Like I don't is great. It sounds fantastic, but I don't really care. I want to make money. So if I can make money down here, then cool. But really and truly, the extension fib, when I go on my previous examples, you'll realize that every extension fib, there was a BTC trade I missed as well. I was quite disappointed with this one. Okay. So same thing, guys. All right. I know it's a bit messy, forgive me, but let me try and help. So same again, these blocks, these boxes here are my support and resistance. I had my downwards trend line. Okay, so I had 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch. Okay, 4th touch down here. I pulled my fibs from my low. I pulled it to my high. It came to the other side of my trend line. So you can see it broke it. It normally does need a retest. Retested the other side of my trend line. Also my support and resistance. Also my 78, 88%. And then it flew to TP1 and TP2, but I missed this. This happened at 4 in the morning. So I was not awake at that day. Normally am, but I was not that day. Okay. But again, same concept. Okay. Um, when it comes down to trades being sent into the chat, I would recommend every single one of you having a TradingView app. You only want to enter your trades on MetaTrader 5, but you don't want to manage it on MetaTrader 5 as well. You want to manage it going off candles or manage it off your TradingView. Okay. This is obviously for advanced. If you don't know what you're doing, your only reason why you should hold a trade, when some people say, "Oh, are we holding?" It's like you don't even know why you're holding. Like the only reason why I will hold a trade, the only reason why I held GBP JPY to TP2 is because I have confirmations as to why I'm holding it. Your only reason why you want to hold is because you're greedy. That's your confirmation. If you had your confirmation, why am I holding to TP2? I want more money. If you want more money, you need to build the business tonight, right? But um ideally, guys, the best comment is if it's blue, it's up to you, and every dripping tap will eventually fill your bucket. Okay. Um, but TradingView, you can set alerts. So I set alerts so I don't have to be on my phone all the time. Um, you don't see figures here, okay? As well. Also, if you haven't done it already, guys, on your MetaTrader 5, change your red and green candles to neutral colors. So white and black are my candles. There's a reason why I do this because red means danger, murder, not good, bad. So when you're in drawdown, no wonder you lose your marbles. Okay. When you're in blue, blue is a dopamine color. It's a vibrant color. It makes you feel excited. You can't change that obviously when it comes to the actual numbers, but you can change your candles. It helps. So red and green candles don't normally help, just psychologically. Um, I'll show you something else as well. This could be another confirmation. It's just interesting. I find it interesting. So if you go to my FX book, and you come to sentiment, right? What this does is it shows you the percentage of people that are in a trade. And what did I say at the start, guys? Can anyone remind me of a saying that I said right at the start? I know I said a lot of sayings, right? But have a guess of what this shows you the percentage of people that are selling and the percentage of people that are buying. Maybe that's a clue. This chart shows you the percentage of people that are buying and the percentage of people that are selling. Can anyone remember? Jordan, bullseye. Observe the masses and do the opposite. So when I come to this and I realize that 79% of idiots are selling, I'm not going to join them. I'm going to stay on the buys. This is not a confirm. This is just helps. Don't just come on here and because everyone's selling, I'm going to do buy. No. All right. But if you come to GBP JPY, I'm pretty sure most people are selling and that's why it's going up. Okay. GBP JPY, 78% of people are selling. What is GBP JPY doing? It's in the sky. Okay. Again, let's check out gold. Gold is selling, I think, right now, or buying. It's selling. No, what's gold doing? Gold is selling. I'm looking for buyers down here. So this is what we're waiting for. I sent this in earlier. Same concept, guys. So this is what we're waiting for. This is a trade for you lot to work out. This will probably happen Monday. Tomorrow's bank holiday in America. This will probably happen Monday, but same thing again. We have our red trend line, sorry, our red support and resistance. We have our support trend line. So one, sorry, resistance trend line, two, three. It's broken it, but it hasn't retested it yet. For this to go, we need to get a retest. Okay. So what I want to do is it needs to come down to my support, my discounted area, where my order block is as well, and where the other side of my trend line is to then go up. Make sense? Hopefully it makes sense. Might have been gibberish for a lot of you. Welcome to trading, right? But I'm not the trader that's gonna come with every trading terminology and fancy words. I'm here to make money, guys. Like, draw me the line, let it bounce off the line. I want a discount, I buy it at the discount. Simple maths. Okay. So if this does happen, right? Again, same thing within this order block here. So on the 4 hour, you guys can see this is an order block. Okay. So this dark candle and this light candle is an order block. Okay. So it lines up with my 88%. Now within the order block, if I dive into it over here, right? So if I dive into that here and I go to maybe the 30-minute time frame, okay, I now have a little gap in price and a nice order block. Okay, so this gap from this wick to this wick, price needs to come to the right hand side and fill it, and that's why my entry is at the start of it and my stop loss is at the low. Okay, so this is an idea that we are going to wait for next week. Um, you could set a buy limit, but I want to wait until price comes there. So I'll put it on this side of the trend line. So we're looking at this is a big stop loss, but it's a great to risk to reward. So you don't need to do something crazy, right? Because we're looking at a one, two. I don't think it even goes that high. How high have I put it? Yeah, that's. I'm excited. That can happen. It probably will happen, but it don't need to go that high. I'll be happy with a 1 to 3, or you can be happy with a 1 to 6, or you can be happy with a 1 to 8. But I am with what's going on with Bitcoin, with what's going on with crypto, I feel we're going to get running soon. So gold is a safe haven. I expect this to keep going higher, but we're not going to get greedy. Okay, we can put it here at the start of it, a 1 to 8. I'll take that every day. All right, guys. With that being said, does anyone have any questions? I hope you guys got gems. I hope it didn't go over everyone's head. But that's just how I trade. And alongside the scanners, like imagine this is what I do. Like it's actually a cheat code. I do this with the charts and then I go on the scanners. Now it's just a wrap. The scanners is like 10 confirmations in itself. It's like we're cheating. Like we're actually cheating at this point. We're actually cheating. Right? So when you come to the scanners as well, remember the scanners don't pick up human intelligence before us. So normally when I hit a trade, the scanner will catch up after. Okay, but even if we just look at this, yeah, just look at this example here on gold. Okay, so they're trying to sell it on the 30-minute time frame. They're trying to sell it. TP5 is 3274. My entry is 3270 for the buys. Remember what I said? Everyone's stop loss is everyone's entry. No, everyone's stop loss is everyone's take profit and everyone's vice versa. So the scanner is trying to sell it to my entry, and I'm trying to buy it because TPs is opportunities for entries as well. So yeah. And on the higher time frame, on the 2 hour time frame on gold, we're looking to buy it anyway. Okay. So with this, guys, it's a wrap. Kill shot's probably selling it. Yeah, mostly red. So we are looking to sell it. But if you're not in a trade now, I'm still personally holding sells. Um, doesn't mean enter now. Tomorrow the market's gonna be dead. This will happen Monday, guys. So I'm gonna send this out. I've already sent it out, right? But you guys heard it here first. This is for Monday. Okay, this will happen. I would want it to happen around Monday. And I'm pretty happy with that one. Okay. Cool, guys. That's it from me. I can stop recording now.